A country is in chaos, innocent lives are being torn apart by genocide, and the world watches in silence. This is not a far-off crisis, it's happening right now in Sudan. Over 30 million people are on the brink of death, caught in a brutal war fueled by global powers. But what's most shocking? The United States, the so-called beacon of democracy, is standing on the sidelines. While genocide unfolds in real time, American leaders, including Senator Marco Rubio, are caught up in political games, failing to take real action. Senator Cory isn't having it, and he's calling out Rubio for his inaction.
I agree with what you said about it being a foreign policy crisis, the great debt and the downgrading that we just saw. To be pushing a bill right now that would add $2.7 trillion to our national debt is just outrageous. And I've been grateful for the small group of Republicans here in the Senate and a number in the House who have just called this out as plain as it is. To do this now will shake America's economy, give tax breaks to the wealthiest amongst us who are doing quite well, and not help with the current economic crisis we're facing. But that's frankly just something I didn't want to talk about right now. Where I really want to just continue our conversation about Sudan, and I know you know, as was said passionately by one of my colleagues, the gravity of the crisis that's over there. Full stop, it's the greatest humanitarian crisis on the planet Earth. There's ethnic cleansing going on, an active genocide as described by our own government and others. And people are fleeing right now with the recent attacks on Zamzam and more, but I know you're very aware of this. What I want to ask you about specifically is that not only did you acknowledge the genocide and say, I quote, being backed by countries that we consider allies elsewhere in the world, this is being fueled, you were saying, we must draw a clear line on that. You specifically mentioned the UAE, and you said, and I quote, take UAE, for example, they are an important partner in the Middle East, but we must be clear they are currently supporting an entity that is carrying out genocide. I'm just wondering, have you been able to draw that clear line in your conversations with the UAE, specifically addressing the issue of the supplying of arms?
Well, again, and I wasn't satisfied when people would answer this way when I was sitting on that side, but now on this side with diplomacy, you always want to be careful what you say publicly, because then people don't want to talk to you if they think it's going to happen in the future. Let me say this, we have expressed, not just to the UAE, but to other countries, that they are turning it into a proxy war, that it's destabilizing the region, that in fact it's creating an environment, not just in Sudan, but it's threatening to South Sudan already faces pretty substantial challenges, but some of that threatens to spill over and make it even worse.
If I can interrupt, Marco, because I think your answer is justifiable. The UAE is a vital ally to the United States in a lot of other critical areas of the world.
But it doesn't serve their interest. But my point is, it doesn't serve the interest of some of these countries involved to continue to pursue this route, because instability there is going to create a breeding nest for radicalism.
And I guess when my hope is, and I know you and I can have further conversations privately, is that we are pressing hard on those people that are fueling the conflict. But I want to ask the next part of this question is, the U.S. leadership is critical to end this. This is actually something that we can achieve. Not only alleviation of the suffering, but an end of this. If a humanitarian corridor is created and respected, this is something we can help to do. Finding diplomatic resolution to the conflict is something we can do. Now, there's a bipartisan a commitment in this committee, mandate to appoint a special envoy for Sudan. We know that that kind of leadership can help address this the worst crisis on the globe. Time is not in our favor. Are you going to get a special envoy appointed, as colleagues on both sides of this aisle want to happen?
We do. We want to. We'd love to have somebody in charge of that. We have a similar arrangement with DRC, Rwanda, and have seen it play dividends.
Mr. Secretary, all I'm looking for is a sense of urgency and an answer yes.
Yes, the answer is, but we have to find the right person, and that's the challenge.
Next, 30 million people in Sudan require humanitarian assistance. In February, it was reported that, and you heard this passionately, that the freeze in humanitarian assistance is causing untold suffering. I was there myself in Chad last year and saw the role that we were playing. And frankly, I saw how great American companies like Plumpy Nut here were doing good, a double bottom line. They were helping to alleviate the crisis over there, as well as helping American businesses here. I just am hoping that you can say that you will commit to resume and even surge United States humanitarian assistance, particularly food aid, as soon as humanly as possible.
Well, all of that has been approved. All of the life-saving food and medicine programs have been turned on. To the extent that there's been impediments, has been one or two things. Either A, on the payment system front, where we faced a couple of weeks where we couldn't get money moving through Treasury because of a variety of different reasons, including changes to the technology, but that's largely been resolved. And the other is the ability to distribute it once the aid arrives at site.
Marco, Mr. Secretary, you and I have been friends for a very long time. A sense of urgency is what I'm asking for right now. That every day that we delay or that we don't plow through the line of defense here, that's stopping this from happening. People are dying. I know you, and I know we can do better. And as you and I both were taught back in the days we were playing football, if better is possible, good is not enough. I want to move.
But the big question is, will Rubio step up and lead, or will he let Sudan burn while the world looks away? Stay with us to find out. The situation in Sudan is nothing short of catastrophic. For those who haven't been following closely, here's what's happening. Sudan is embroiled in one of the most brutal conflicts in the world today. People are being murdered, displaced, and terrorized by armed groups that have no regard for human life. Entire villages are being erased from the map as ethnic cleansing and genocide continue unabated. As the world stands by, over 30 million people need urgent humanitarian aid. But while these innocent civilians are suffering, global leaders, particularly in the United States, are failing to act in a meaningful way. What's worse, the United States has a role in this conflict. While the U.S. claims to support human rights, it continues to play a dangerous game of diplomacy that indirectly fuels the violence in Sudan. Countries like the UAE, which are considered vital allies, are actively supporting factions that are involved in the genocide. The UAE's military presence and support in Sudan have been linked to the very forces that are perpetuating this destruction. Yet, despite this clear involvement, the U.S. has been hesitant to address it, and that's where Senator Cory Booker comes in. Senator Cory Booker is done with the inaction. He isn't holding back. During a heated exchange, Booker directly called out Senator Marco Rubio, one of the most powerful figures in foreign policy, for his failure to take real action. Booker's message was clear and unrelenting: we cannot sit idly by while innocent people die. He pressed Rubio to stop offering empty statements and to start leading with urgency. The situation in Sudan demands more than just words, it demands action. Booker challenged Rubio, demanding concrete steps to address the crisis. But Rubio's response was tepid at best, offering more diplomatic platitudes than meaningful solutions. And this is where the tension really builds. Rubio, who chairs key foreign policy committees, was asked directly if he would take action to stop the genocide and address the role of the UAE. His response was a non-committal diplomatic statement. He acknowledged the UAE's role in fueling the conflict, but was careful not to criticize the country too harshly. The key point here is this: the U.S. is walking a fine line, trying to maintain good relations with the UAE while knowing full well that they are backing a genocidal regime in Sudan. Rubio's reluctance to take a stronger stance is troubling, and it shows the moral compromise at the heart of U.S. foreign policy. But Booker wasn't done. He called out Rubio on the hypocrisy that exists in U.S. foreign policy, particularly regarding Africa. The U.S. has no problem lecturing other countries on human rights, but when it comes to acting on those principles in Africa, the response is often lackluster. Booker raised the point that this crisis, which is devastating millions of people, has not received the attention it deserves from Washington. Why? Because, as Booker pointed out, it doesn't serve the political interests of the U.S. to prioritize Africa's suffering. While the U.S. is quick to act when it's convenient, when the crisis is in a part of the world where America has little to gain, the response is slower, more tepid, and filled with excuses. The double standard is clear. America claims to stand for human rights, but the actions or lack thereof speak volumes. For years Sudan has been in crisis, but the U.S. has been more focused on maintaining its relationship with strategic allies like the UAE, who, by the way, are actively supporting the regime responsible for the violence. It's a brutal irony: the same country that champions democracy and freedom around the world is turning a blind eye to genocide in Sudan because of political and economic interests. But Booker isn't backing down. He's pushing for immediate action. He's calling for the U.S. to use its influence to stop the violence, get humanitarian aid to those who need it, and hold the UAE accountable. And he's not the only one. There's bipartisan support in Congress to appoint a special envoy for Sudan, someone who can focus on the crisis and work towards a diplomatic solution. This is the leadership that's needed right now, but Rubio has yet to act decisively. The question is why? Booker's frustration is palpable, and it's easy to see why. Time is running out for the people of Sudan. Every day that passes without action means more suffering, more deaths, and more displacement. Millions are at risk of dying due to the lack of food, water, and medical supplies. And what's America's response? Bureaucracy, delays, excuses. It's a tragic pattern that has persisted for far too long. Booker's message is simple: stop dragging your feet and start leading with the urgency this crisis demands. But it gets even more urgent. The United Nations has been critical in providing humanitarian aid, but the vital air services that deliver this aid have been suspended. That's right, life-saving humanitarian flights have been halted. And why? Bureaucratic red tape. The UN's Humanitarian Air Service, which is crucial to getting supplies into Sudan, is being shut down, and lives are at stake because of it. Booker called this out directly, asking why the U.S. isn't doing more to ensure these flights continue. The answer from Rubio: more excuses. We need to balance responsibility, he said. But when it comes to saving lives, there's no balance, there's only action or inaction. In the face of all this, one thing is clear: the U.S. has the power to make a real difference in Sudan. It has the leverage to stop the violence, provide humanitarian aid, and help bring about a diplomatic solution. But will it? Or will America remain silent while the genocide continues? Will Rubio step up and lead, or will he continue to hide behind political games and failed diplomacy? The question that remains is whether the U.S. will truly lead in this crisis or let Sudan fall into further chaos. This is not a test of diplomacy, it's a test of leadership. And the stakes couldn't be higher. The clock is ticking. Millions of lives are on the line, and the U.S. has the power to make a difference, but will it? We'll have to wait and see. What do you think? Should the U.S. be doing more to stop the genocide in Sudan? Do you think Rubio will step up and act, or is he more focused on political games than human lives? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video important, make sure to hit the subscribe button for more coverage on this ongoing crisis. The next story is even more controversial, and you don't want to miss it.